Hi, I'm Gracie, and this is Scott from Small Worlds Big Adventures. And today we're going to talk about our favorite games that we play as a family on the PC.
Yeah.
I will preface a lot of these games can be played on other devices, whether it's.
Some of them.
Yeah, but we play together as a family on PC. And we'll talk about why we like these, but in general, it's because they're cooperative. And it's easy for us to play together as a family.
Yeah.
Kicking it off with a very well-known one, which is Minecraft.
Yep.
We started playing Minecraft together as a family, probably like
a while ago,
7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
It was probably our first game we played together as a family like that.
Yes.
Excluding maybe WoW, but Des never really got into
that was
WoW.
Mostly you and me.
Yeah. What I love about it is, one, you can explore. There's a little danger factor, but you can set that to very little.
Even if you don't, it's pretty forgiving.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, and you can generally, if you know what you're doing, avoid the places where it is hard.
For sure.
Deep caves and stuff like that.
Sleep through the night to avoid those types of things. I like the creative aspect, like, in the world you can build and create pretty much whatever you want. And then there's the exploring act, like the world continuously grows and changes. So
yeah, it's a game about exploration and building. And that'll be the theme kind of through all the games that we're going to be talking about today. It's super approachable for a younger audience.
Yes.
In fact, that's kind of where the big popularity for the game really kind of came from, is really younger game players. And then as they've grown older, it's just kind of gotten bigger and bigger.
Well, and like when it comes to our family dynamic, Des broached it. He wanted to play it.
Yeah.
And he brought it to us. Now, you had played before.
I had already played. Yeah.
I hadn't, though.
No. It's a fun game. It's pretty basic in a lot of ways, but like that kind of helps with the approachability to the game, especially if you've got younger kids that they want to play with. And the older people or older kids can do the more dangerous stuff or the more complex things and show the younger kids how to do stuff. They can have fun moving blocks or knocking down trees or whatever they want to do. It's just a fun game. It does technically have a storyline, would be wrong, but an end goal where you get through and you got to kind of build to the netherworld or the underworld, and then the nether, and defeat the ender dragon. I think is what it is. But there's no real story there or anything. You do that, and that doesn't end the game in any fashion. You've just then done that, and that wasn't in the game when I first started playing. Even that's so long ago. And
they're still adding mainly like critters and stuff. Maybe new materials,
a monster or something once in a while.
They do have a way to play like with other players that aren't in your land.
There's a big multiplayer scene with competitive gameplay and different game modes and stuff now that weren't there when we started even playing as a family. And our son got into some of that. But we never really got into that all that much.
I really hate playing with other people. Like unknown people.
Valid.
It stresses me out.
Nothing wrong with that.
Mainly because, like, in our triad of a family, I am not the strong game player. I'm not going to kill the most things.
You're not the action game player.
No. If you want me to mine the most, I got you.
That's right.
Fishing the most. Yeah. Help you build stuff.
Build the base.
Maintain the base. I'm that gal.
Sure.
So having
the homemaker.
That's right. Yeah. Stereotype confirmed. Going away from that, the next one that we really got into was probably Grounded. It was in its early access phase.
Yes.
In this one, you get shrunken as like a preteen kid.
Yeah, you're a group of kids that got shrunk.
Yep.
Kind of like
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
And you're in the backyard trying to survive.
You're battling bugs. You're finding toys left behind.
In a lot of ways, and most of the games on our list will be similar. It is a more advanced version of Minecraft.
Yeah.
You're building a base. You're gathering resources. You're fighting monsters or whatever you have at various points. This one, like most of the rest of the games, they don't have an entirely destructible environment like Minecraft is. You can literally strip pretty much everything out of the world of Minecraft. You can't do this, that, and this.
Yeah. Most things you can use for stuff, but like you're not going to chop down that giant tree.
You're not digging holes really in the dirt or anything like that.
Leveling the land.
The graphics are much more, while they're cartoony, they're much more realistic than the blocky Minecraft is. So it's a much prettier game, and there's a story to it.
Yes.
There's a story that you're following along. So in theory, and we've not actually finished it yet.
Yeah.
You get to the end of the story and you're maybe done with the game. Whereas with Minecraft, there's kind of really really an ending. Again, other than you killed the Ender Dragon. And
if you get bored with your area, you can go a long ways, find a new area, start from scratch.
Right.
You can build in different areas in Grounded, but you are confined to the backyard.
The backyard is a definite set area with different, you could call them biomes, but different areas in it that are progressively more dangerous with more advanced materials in it, but also continues the storyline until you reach the end, and then I would assume you become big again. I don't know.
We haven't hit that part.
I haven't hit that part quite yet.
Yeah. What I like about it, and with a lot of these, is like people can have jobs. Like one person can be literally building the house you guys stay in. Another could be going to gather resources. And with different personality types, like you'll tend to find where you fit out. Desmond has always been, I like to go explore first, get the things.
He likes to be the first one to the next zone.
Which is totally fine. I maybe sometimes wish, like, I don't always get to see things right away. But also, I want to go at a glacial pace and not risk my life.
But I mean, almost in a flip on this one, I tend to be the one that stays back at base, building the base more. Now I've seen more of the areas, but for a while you had seen quite a bit more of the game than I had. And had been in more dangerous areas than I had been in. So
I think part of that is in Minecraft, if you die, several things could happen. You could, if you don't have a bed, you could have to travel a long ways away to get back to where you were. And eventually your stuff despawns. In Grounded, that backpack's going to live there forever. Eventually you can get that stuff back.
Even if there's just one item in it, it stays on your map the entire time.
So the risk there for me was a little less. Like I go back to where I last put my bed or wherever.
Even if you respawned all the way at the beginning, you're really not all that far from pretty much any place in the game, especially if you know how to traverse the different areas.
Exactly. And then the stuff's always there. And honestly, most of the stuff is really obtainable again. Even the later game stuff, like you get things that are harder to find, but most of it will respawn in an effective way, or there's other ways to get it.
Yeah, there are very few items in the game that are really rare. Most of it is just a matter of going out and then reacquiring it.
Absolutely. From Grounded, we made a hard shift. And went, and this one is probably like my most atypical game.
Yeah, it still feels weird that you enjoy this game as much as you do.
Thoroughly enjoy it. But we played Deep Rock Galactic.
Deep Rock Galactic.
Or as I affectionately call it, the dwarf game.
Dwarf game.
I've hit that age where I'm going to call it what I think it is.
Sure.
Not what it is.
But when we're doing a video like this, it is important that people know what game we're talking about. It's called Deep Rock Galactic.
And it is, you are dwarves in space. And you get sent on missions to do a variety of things.
Technically, you're all miners.
You're
mining an asteroid. You're part of a mining project. Some of the missions don't involve actual mining.
Exactly. Some are like, do bring back so much of this type of resource. But there's like, fix this thing or go get these eggs.
Sabotage an opponent. The opposing mining company. It is an action game. The asteroid you're mining is full of monstrous bugs that want to kill you, and so you all have guns and things to shoot them down, and it is very much an action game. Again, feels pretty far out of Grace's wheelhouse, but
I will say, would you say it's a first-person shooter?
Yeah, it's a first-person shooter.
And I hate first-person shooters. The bugs, for being gross, are cute.
Sure.
at this point, I know pretty much everything and how it's going to react and whatnot. The startle of stuff, like even the guy warned you. He's like, "Hey, shit's coming," and then I'm prepared for it, so I'm not too caught off guard.
Yeah.
But aside from that, again, like it's a game that lends itself to roles.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I should help out when bugs come and help kill stuff.
There are 4 different classes in the game, and they all 4 play pretty differently.
So there's the driller, who is really, you could tell, is just meant to get through stuff. And by stuff, I mean walls and mining. There's the gunner, who's made to do big damage. The scout, who's meant to zip around to get to hard-to-reach places. Make scout holes. And then there is
the engineer. Who sets up turrets and
platforms.
He can make platforms.
All super helpful.
Yeah.
So like you can navigate, explore those roles. You guys could all be gunners. You guys could all be drillers. People could focus on getting the bugs while other people focus on the objectives. Sometimes those are the same thing. But yeah, so it's a thing where like Dez is a grown dude now, but when he was younger, well, frankly, I'm like the child in this group, honestly. If somebody doesn't want to shoot the bugs, doesn't want to have to focus on the objective, they can go do a thing and essentially get carried by the others.
Yeah, kind of. And death in this game is not super prohibitive. You just kind of fall down until somebody can come pick you back up.
Exactly.
If everybody falls down, then you fail the mission because nobody will get back up.
But you still get experience. You still get the resources you gathered.
Yeah, some of it.
Some of it, yeah.
I forget what it is.
But and if one level is too hard, you can make it easier. There's like levels of difficulty.
There's quite a good range of difficulty levels, and again, generally you can choose what mission you want to go on. So if there's missions you don't like, now there are set missions if you want to complete, I guess you'd call them mini campaigns to get usually rewards. And you'll have to do some specific stuff. But if you're just playing to play, there's a lot of freedom there.
They'll do a season, which will give you mini quests.
And I feel like this is half the game for you. Is also it's basically dwarf dress up game.
Oh my god, I love dwarf dress up game. At this point, all my guys have hit like a star level. And while I am working to like level them up, but also I'm like, well, I need to have all the skins,
all the beards, all the hair sides, and all the sideburns.
Yes, I need to have
all the suits, and different hats.
And what you need for that, guys, is monies, minerals, or Phazonite. And Phazonite's super rare and it's purple. But
it's a very tongue-in-cheek, funny game. Fun. There's a lot of like little jokes and stuff in the game and things like that. And it's very enjoyable. It's one we go back to quite frequently. And
I like, and you can get a special ability to make a bug your friend and help fight with you.
Sure.
You're Steve.
They call them Steve. It also hits a fun spot where we don't always have time to play. Our son is now in college. So it's harder to play. And Dwarf game can, Deep Rock Galactic, we can play in between 20 and 40 minutes. Whereas if we sit down to play one of these other games that are building things, we'll just get lost for an entire hour.
Oh, yeah. You get sucked in a delightful way.
Yeah, in a really good way.
And so, in theory, you could always end them at any minute.
Stop whenever you want.
But also, there's not a set end.
I just need to mine that next rock. I need to chop down that next tree.
Yep.
I need to explore that next cave. So it fits a pretty good spot for that, too. If we don't have a lot of time, we can play this.
Not our most recent.
Not actually our most recent, but a very recent.
Very, very recent one we got is Abiotic Factor.
It's now on Steam in early access.
We have hit essentially the end of where they have built it out. It has a story. I don't quite understand the story because I have mostly lived at the base. But essentially, like, something has gone amok. Something to do with Port. I'll let you tell it.
So you are scientists on your first day at what could loosely be referred to as an underground top secret research facility.
Would it be like the Resident Evil place?
So there's a very specific place, and I'll mention that after I describe it. But yeah, sure. And something has gone wrong, and you start the game trapped in the cafeteria, or the cafeteria, and you kind of have to explore out from there, and you find out that pretty much not everybody, but most everybody else at the base is dead, and monsters are running around, and you soon find that there are soldiers that don't belong to your facility running around, and you're just trying to find your way out, but you're deep underground in this facility.
For sure.
It's hard to get out. The game isn't finished yet. Currently, their roadmap on Steam says 3 more big updates with like a zone or 2 each for those, and added like monsters and crafting things and stuff like that, and 1 more kind of small one, I think, to kind of finish it off. And their roadmap has them hopefully finishing by the end of this year.
Yeah.
With computer games, a lot of times it gets pushed back. They're kind of a smaller team. It's not a big AAA game or anything like that. But it's a fun game. It's a fun game. The graphics are kind of not quite grounded level, but considerably better than like Minecraft. So it's kind of an in between.
Yeah. And that's my biggest complaint about the game is the graphics. They seem rough. I don't like the art style.
Sure. I mean, and that's fair.
But honestly, also with how gross their attack thingies are, I'm not sure I want them more realistic.
Maybe it's fine that's the case. You build a base again. You have to get resources from different things by like breaking down computers and stuff. You're putting together equipment, so you're making makeshift spears and guns to fight your way out. And later on, even more technological things. We're at the point where we can make a teleport device and stuff like that. It's all high science stuff.
Yeah, high science. It is survival. There's a poop mini game. You have to
poop and sleep mini games in the game.
You have to manage your sleep, your water, your food intake,
durability of your equipment,
waste, all that stuff. It is gross. The monsters are gross. If you get too dirty, you'll see like blood or dirt on you.
You'll be surrounded by flies in the stinking green cloud.
Like I said, there is a poop mini game. But again, it is a survival game, and you have to like build a base and whatnot. Whereas in Grounded and Minecraft, there's a lot more freedom with how much you can build. With this, or like how it looks and stuff like that, you're very limited. Like it's the stuff. Like you can build a cement wall, but it is you're not bags of cement.
You're not building an artisanal house.
Exactly.
You are bringing furniture to an office space.
Exactly. Which that is fun, discovering like the artwork, and you're like, and this is my artwork now, and these are my plants now.
The big mechanic in this game that sets it apart is that there are portals to other miniature worlds that you can explore and get other resources, essentially, which is fun and an exciting take on it. One of the first ones you get to is it's sort of a street of shops that is filled with mist, but there's these tall monsters roaming around that you've got to avoid and kind of dashing between the shops to get like what you're getting. And there are others that are, this one is also more horror themed.
Very,
There can be some scary spots in Grounded, mostly the spiders, but there's not really a lot of like jump out stuff. And this one's kind of got some jump outy scares for you in essence. The coworker at night crawls around on the ground asking for food. He comes out of the dark at you.
Coworker, we're not going to tell you what he is, but he looks like a human.
Why would we tell him anything?
That crawls on all fours. And if he comes out at you in the dark, that will scare you.
It is kind of.
It's the only thing I like jumped at.
The game is in a lot of ways loosely designed on the fiction of the SCP organization, which you may or may not be familiar with, which is kind of this horror thing about a government, not even really a government, but an organization that captures and contains anomalies that are like monsters and weird things and stuff like that. And that's kind of the theme that they're going for. So you kind of go through and find a lot of these anomalies that they have contained that are now kind of getting out, and some of them have effects, some of them are good, beneficial effects. One of them that you don't get to interact with, at least at this point in the game, that I thought was funny was a table that makes you hate it. It doesn't have an effect on the players, but you can read emails and stuff from people, and they discuss these things, and you can talk with some of the NPCs are still alive. You can hear their stories as well. So it's fun. We enjoyed what we played of it. Right now, there's not much there because it's pretty well. I mean, we played a number of hours worth of
There's
game.
a lot there.
Yeah.
And honestly, like when you had been like, well, I guess we're done with this. I was like, what do you mean? First of all, I just reorganized our base.
Just reorganized the base.
I haven't been to all the places.
No, you've got like one more zone to go to.
Yeah.
Basically.
But even with that, like I haven't explored all the places I have been to. You guys mentioned
they're not small zones.
Yeah.
Either. I've not explored all of like the different parts of the zones.
I'm somebody who likes to like clear out a thing, and I know I haven't cleared out manufacturing or the laboratories.
Nope.
So like even though as a family we've kind of stopped because like what Des and kind of you get out of it has hit its limit.
Yeah,
I can definitely just sit and reorganize and make new stuff for a long time.
Sure. There aren't going to be any more resources or this game has blueprints, but crafting things for us to get to advance either weaponry or gear or anything like that because we've hit the limit for now. But again, there's supposed to be hopefully in June the next update, and then I think early fall and then late fall are the next 3 big ones, which should then complete the game.
Yep.
So we're looking forward to it. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah. But that means we had to find a new one.
Yep.
And that is Raft. And we are 2 days in.
Yeah.
Raft is an ocean survival game where you're literally fishing stuff out of the water.
You're surviving on a literal wooden raft.
Yep. That is where you start.
Yep.
You pass islands that have more resources.
Really small islands
Yeah.
At the beginning anyways.
And here's the thing. Until you get to a certain tech level, literally, like, you hop on that island and you chase your raft down. That raft don't stop for nobody.
The raft can float away.
And eventually you get sails and anchors and stuff like that.
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
Pretty quick you get at least the basics to manage the raft. The first hour of this game is harder than I had expected for these types of games. Usually they start you off.
You have a perpetual shark.
You've got a shark that circles the raft and
will eat you.
If you go in the water, about 3 bites will kill you. Yep. And it's on some sort of timer, so every something like 10 minutes, it'll try and take a chunk of the raft off.
Yep. Which, if you're not building your raft out, then your raft get real tiny.
Yeah.
And I don't know if because there's 3 of us, I think it's just that is your starting raft, regardless of how many people.
I would imagine.
Which is essentially just like 4 cubes, I think.
Yeah, it's small to begin with.
Yeah. But yeah, we're enjoying it. Note to the game makers, a little too much shark.
A little too much shark at the beginning. A little too much.
Where we are now, it's manageable.
Yeah, it's not
still annoying if a corner goes missing.
It's at the beginning, it is a serious danger. Now it is more of just something else we have to manage.
Yeah.
And that's like you have to manage eating and you have to manage drinking. And that also, especially early on, goes a little quick.
Yeah.
And takes maybe more resources than it ought to resolve once you hit kind of where we're at, which isn't that far in the game.
Yeah.
It's not, again.
What you get? We've only been playing 2 days, maybe 3 or 4 hours. We haven't played very long.
Yeah, we haven't played very long, and now it's more of just something that you are.
Yeah.
I forget what I said.
Maintaining.
You're maintaining it. You're managing it. It's not a life or death thing now. Yeah. It's just something you got to. Okay, now I got to make sure that the shark is not eating. Even if he does, then I just replace it.
Replace it. Make sure I have enough resources to do it.
Yeah. But it's fun so far. Yeah. It's kind of right in our wheelhouse of you get to build some, and we've seen. The splash screen shows you rafts that other people have built. So some really elaborate stuff later on at any rate. And at this point, we have a second floor with some beds up there. So there's definitely a lot of building in the game, which we like. Yeah. A lot of resource gathering, which is something we enjoy. A bit of...
We'll be able to make something that we want it to look like. It can be cute. I already know there's paint, so we can start painting shit.
Paintings. We've seen a bunch of decoration stuff that we technically can't make yet, but we have patterns for.
What is it? Party lights.
Yeah.
String lights. That's what I call them.
String lights.
And then for me, the little islands give me like just enough of like, I can go explore this. I like the diving into the water part. So that like it's summer, like a little fun parts for me. I think Des likes it a lot because there's always a new exciting blueprint, a new place to go. I think once he can kill those birds, he'll be real happy.
Yep.
But yeah, all in all, just all good.
Yeah, we're early in the game, but really enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
Looking forward to playing probably some more right after we get done with this video.
Literally, they're all dying for me to hit the okay. That like we have done enough productivity things that we can now go play the raft game.
Yeah.
And that's not even me making a dumb name for it. That's the name. The raft.
It's literally just raft.
Raft.
On Steam at any rate.
Yep.
This game, unlike Abiotic Factor, is, as far as I know, all the way done. I don't know if they'll have any types of updates or anything for it, but the story, it's also one that apparently has a storyline that you'll be progressing through, which we've not technically started even in the game. I think you need the receiver and the transmitter before you can do that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So I'm excited to see kind of that and play through that. But it's pretty cheap. It's $20.
Yeah, $20. Which, if you're playing as family, it's $20 per person.
So $60. So the price of kind of a AAA game, you've got 3 players to play something like this. The graphics on this are kind of closer to the grounded style. They're a little more realistic, cartoony, but realistic.
You only have like 2 people really you can be, and you can change the color of their shirts.
I didn't even see how you change your character at all.
Oh yeah, it's I don't know if you can now that we started the game, but you got to choose to be male or female version, and then you could change the color of your shirt.
I didn't even notice that.
But now we have trophies we have. So I am wearing a warthog head, and Des is very funnily wearing a shark head.
Shark head.
But yeah, before we close out, I just want to highlight, like, if you want to start getting into PC gaming with your family, especially if you have ability differences, you know, having a survivalist type of game can really lend itself well to that, especially if you, as the parents, family members, are willing to carry younger kids.
Also, a lot of these games, Minecraft, I'm not so sure of, mainly because I have not played a lot of the more modern Minecraft, but most of these games have varying difficulty levels.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Minecraft does. You literally can have a monster-free one, like a saved one.
So you can set it easier to play too for a younger audience, or an audience that maybe doesn't play as well if your partner isn't that into these types of games.
Oh, for sure.
You can do it so that
I love these type of games.
A lot of
I
times
just like to do the specific things I like to do.
Yeah. A lot of times you can turn off things like you have to eat and drink as an issue and stuff like that. So you can also make it easier. We usually play just on whatever the normal difficulty for these are, and they tend to be pretty much, that difficulty tends to be right in our wheelhouse.
Oh, for sure. Des would like to amp it up, make it the most.
Yeah, let's maybe not do that. Not played it co-op, and I'm not interested in trying it co-op, but if you're interested in games that are maybe a little less on the fighty side, things like Stardew Valley also has multiplayer to it. Now, Stardew Valley has a heavy, like, dating sim story to it that makes me feels weird to do that co-op, but I would be interested in a game maybe that was from ground up designed to be co-op that I would happily play with you. Do like a farming sim or something like that. And honestly, actually, I've put it on my wish list a couple times, but Farming 2022 or whatever, which is kind of like you drive a combine and stuff, like actual farmer stuff, and I've looked at a couple of things, but I'd be happy. There's other games out there that are less like combat stressful if you're interested in something like that too.
Stardew let me marry my husband, and also let me match up the villagers with each other. Let me play matchmaker.
Yeah,
that's what I want. Otherwise, I will marry Harvey forever. And not Sebastian.
No, not again.
Never. I divorced him so quick. But yeah. So if you want to play games with your family, these are some that you can look into. If you have questions about any of them, drop them below. Or if there's ones we should consider picking up once we've
what are your
exhausted our current obsession as a family. I feel like Dwarf Game will forever be in the background.
Yeah, it's just one that's easy to go back to and play.
And they update so frequently that like there's always something new when we do go back to it.
If you really enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. so that you can see when we update these games and these videos and put our next video out. I know the last few weeks have been a little slow /
we'll pick up on it.
Plays on there, but it's been a busy time for us. And
full transparency, I have started a master's program with a little preparation for it, so it kind of came out of nowhere. We're excited, but it does mean a little extra on my plate.
We want to make sure that we continue to get videos out in a timely manner, but also we've got kind of some big stuff coming in the next couple of years for us that are going to take up a lot of time, but part of that hopefully we'll be doing videos
more often,
kind of explaining where we're going and where we're heading as well.
For sure. But yeah, if there's nothing else, we'll see you next time.
Bye.